Hidden Right by Charles Bukowski, Chapter 41. ROTC, keep me away from the sports uh, while the other guys practice every day. They made the school teams, uh, and won their letters and got the guards. My days were spent mostly marching around in the sun. All you ever saw were the backs of some guys, Earth and his buttocks. I quickly became a disenchanted with military proceedings. The others shined their shows brightly and seemed to go through maneuvers with relish. I couldn't see any sense in it. They were just getting shape up in order to get their balls blow off later. On the other hand, I couldn't see myself crouched down in a football helmet, shoulder pads lace up, naked on my in blue and white. 69, trying to block some men, son of a bitch from across town, trying to move out some bird with tacos on his breath, so that the son of the district attorney could slam off left tackle for 6 years. And the problem was you had to keep choosing between one evil or another, and no matter what you could choose, they slice a little bit more of you until there was nothing left. At the age of 25, most people were finished. A whole goddamn nation of assholes driving automobiles, eating, having babies, doing everything in the worst way possible, like voting for the presidential candidate and who remained then most of themselves. I had no interest. I had no interest in anything. I had no idea how I was going to escape. At, at least, and the other had some taste for life. They seemed to understand something that I didn't understand. Maybe as was lacking, it was possible. I often felt inferior. I just wanted to get away from them, but there was no place to go. Suicide? Jesus Christ, just more work. I felt like sleeping for 5 years, but they would, wouldn't let me. So there I was, at Jersey Hike, still in the rock ROTC, still with my voice that always reminded me of how fucked up I was. It was a grand day. eh, One man from each squad who had won the manual of armor or of arms competition within his squad stepped into a long line where the final competition was to be held. Somehow, I had won the competition in my squad. I had no idea how. I was no hot shot. It was Saturday. Many mothers and fathers were in the stands. Somebody blew a bugle, as a sword flashed, comments rang out. Right shoulder arms, left shoulder arm, rifles hit shoulders, rifle backs hit the ground, rifle stocks slammed into the shoulders again. Little girls sat in the stands in their blue and green and yellow and orange and pink in white dresses. It was hot. It was boiling. It was insanity. Chinaski, you're competing for the honor of our squadron. Yes, Corporal Monty. And those little girls in the stands each waiting for her lover, for her winner, for her corporate executive. It was sad, a flock of pigeons, frightened by a piece for paper blow in the wind, flapping noisily away. I yearned to be drunk on beer. I wanted to be anywhere but here, as each man made an error that he dropped out of line. Some there were six, then five, then three. I was still there. I had no desire to win. I knew that I wouldn't to win. I some be out of it. I wanted to be out of there. I was tired and boiled and covered with boils. I didn't give a green shit for that for what they were choosing, but I couldn't make an obvious error. Corporal Monty would be hard. Then where when there were then then there were just two of us, me and Andrew Post. Post was a darling. His father was a great criminal lawyer. He was in the stands with his wife, Andrew's mother. Post was sweet but determined. We both knew that he would win. I could feel the energy and the energy was his. It's all right, I thought. He nicks in the need. It is the way it works. It is the way it's mental to work. We went on and on, repeating various manner of arrows maneuvers. From the corner of many eye, I saw the goal was on the field, and I thought, maybe if I had tried harder, I could have become a great football player. Order, shouted the commander, and I ripped my ball home. Had been only one click. There had been a click to my left. Under post had frozen. A little man rose from the grandstands. Arms, the commander finished and completed the maneuver. Posted to bat, his bolt was open. The actual ceremony for the winner came some days later. Luckily for me, there were other hours to be given. I stood and waited with the others as school Sussex came down in the line. My balls were worse than ever, and as always when I was wearing that itchy brown wool uniform, the sun was up and hot and making me conscious of every wool fiber in that son of a big shear. It wasn't much of a soiler, and everybody knew it. I had one of a fluke because I hadn't cared enough to be nervous. I felt badly for Cole and Sussex because I knew, I knew what what he was thinking, and maybe he knew what I was thinking. That his peculiar type of devotion and courage didn't seem exceptional to me. Then he was standing right in front of me. I stood in attention, but managed to sneak a peek at him. He had his Sullivan in good order. Maybe when he was pissed off, is dried up. In spite of the head, there was a good west wind blowing. Cool. Susan painted the medal on me. Then he reached out and shook my hand. Congratulations, he said. Then he smiled at me and moved on. And what the old fuck. Maybe he wasn't so bad after all. Walking home, I had the medal in my pocket. Who was called Sussex? Just some guy who had to shit like the rest of us. Everybody had to everybody had to comfort, find a mold to fit into. Doctor, liar, soldier, I didn't matter what it was. Once in the mold, you had to push forward. Success was a helpless as the next man. Either you managed to do something or you starved in the traps. In the streets, I was alone, walking on my side of the streets just before reaching the first boulevard on the long walk home. There was a small neglected store. I stopped and looked in the window. Various objects were displayed with their solar price tags. I saw some candle holders. There was an electric toaster, a table lamp. The glass of the window was dipped inside and out. Through the rather dusty brown smear, I saw two toy dogs reading a miniature piano. These things were for sale. They didn't look very appealing. There weren't any customers in the store, and I couldn't see a clerk either. It was a place I had passed many times before, but had never stopped to examine. I looked in and I liked it. There was nothing happening there. I was a place to rest, to sleep, Everything in it was dead. I could see myself happily employed as a clerk there so long as no customer entered the door. I turned away from the window and walked along somewhere. Just before reaching the boulevard, I stepped into the street and saw an enormous storm drain almost at my feet. It was like a great black mole leading down in the bowels of the earth. I reached into my pocket and took the medal and tossed it toward the black opening. I went right in and disappeared into the darkness. Then I stepped onto the sidewalk and walked back home. When I got there, my parents were busy with various cleaning chores. It was a Saturday. Now I had to mow and clean the lawn, water in the flowers. I changed into my working clothes, went out, and with my father watching me from beneath his dark and airy eyebrows. I opened the garage doors and carefully pulled the mower out backwards. The mower blades not turning them, but waiting.